Hey everybody, Eric Nathy with MountModernLife.com. Today we want to talk to you about Internet 2.0. So last week we came out with a short video that kind of highlighted our current RV internet setup. And as we mentioned in that video, while we were in Wisconsin, it was working fantastic. And when we came down here to Florida, our internet source was a little bit farther away, and there were a whole bunch of distractions in between, namely trees and the fact that our modem router we're trying to connect to is in a metal trailer slash shed and also has tons of insulation in there. Now, one thing that we did notice was that the router was actually put up into the ceiling of the trailer, and it was on the other side of us in the trailer, in the ceiling, meaning that when we were trying to search for that signal, we were needing to go through all of the fiberglass to get to the router and through the metal that the trailer was made out of. So we actually moved the router down out of the ceiling into the middle part of the trailer, and that drastically increased the ability for us to connect to that internet source. Now, we know that when you're on the road, you're not going to be able to necessarily move the router or modem that you're trying to connect to, so that doesn't really help, and we knew that as well, so we decided we would test out a little bit or a couple more options of equipment to see how that would work. Now, as you can see over here, we still have our Alpha indoor booster with our 7 dBi antenna and our Alpha R36 repeater. And this was our internet setup that we had while we were in Wisconsin when we first got here. Like I said, it got a little weak, so we went out and we purchased two other options, which I'll go over real quick. So we have here our Alpha Tube U in booster and our 8 dBi omni-directional antenna. Which the Tube U actually came with the antenna, and then it also came with these awesome zip ties where you're able to actually loosen and tighten them, so you're able to reuse them. Really handy for installing this up on the RV. Second thing we got was our 16 dBi directional Yagi antenna, which is right here. And now, first thing we did once we got these two items was we took the Tube U in and we took our 8 dBi antenna, we plugged it in, and we connected it directly to the ladder on our back of our RV. Now, this antenna, this 8 dBi antenna, is actually omnidirectional, very similar to our 7 dBi antenna, meaning that they cast out a signal, or they cast out retrievers at 360-degree circles around themselves, looking for internet source wherever it may be located, then pulling it in. So we put that up there, the omnidirectional, and we realized that it was a little bit stronger than our previous setup, but it still wasn't fast enough to get cruising around and finish all our work, and also even watch Netflix or Amazon. It was a little too slow. So we went ahead and disconnected that, and we grabbed our 16 dBi Yagi directional antenna, and we put it up on the roof. Now, the thing is with the directionals, they're different than the Omni because they actually have to be pointed towards your internet source. They don't cast out a signal 360 degrees looking for other signals. They just cast the signal in the direction that it's pointing. So we got up there and we lined up this antenna with our internet source, and then we brought it in through an extension cable from the antenna into our Alpha booster, which then fed into our R36 repeater. And once we did that, we noticed a drastic increase in the internet speed. It still wasn't quite where we wanted it to be though. So I thought to myself, what if I unplug the Yagi antenna from our Alpha indoor booster and plug it into our Tube U in? And when I did that, I noticed a really drastic increase, and things started flying along a lot quicker. Now, the thing is that with the Tube U, it's actually designed for this antenna as far as how they connect. But if you check in the box, ours came with actually an adapter that you're able to connect in, and then that'll allow you to connect other various antennas directly into the Tube U. Also, a little side note to note here is on the bottom it has a USB port, and it sticks in there, and it's actually weatherproof so that when you can leave it outside so it doesn't get damaged. The Yagi antenna and the 8 dBi are both actually made for outdoors as well. So once we connected that, where we had our Yagi 16 dBi antenna going into our Tube U and then sending that signal to our R36 repeater, we were able to get online pretty fast, and we were able to do all the work we needed to get accomplished. Also watch Amazon or Netflix if we wanted at night. It was fantastic, and for about 5 days it ran really great like that. Then on the 5th day, we actually had a storm cruise through. And before it got here, I jumped up on the roof and I took down the whole setup because it was supposed to be really windy and I didn't want anything blowing off the roof. Brought it inside. Once the storm passed, I went back up on the roof, reinstalled everything the way I had it, then went into my R36 status page to check and see how my connection was working. And what I noticed right away, that my connection was still great. We had 100% connection percentage. Our signal strength was at about -55, and we were doing about 7 MBS. So things were going very well. At least it looked like it. But the problem was is that when we were on the internet, everything was taking forever to load, and we couldn't really watch anything or upload or download anything. So I didn't know what the problem was, because the status page was telling me that we had the same strong signal we had for the previous 5 days, but we just weren't actually getting the strong internet. So I'm not sure if there's something in the air in between, say because of the storm, maybe it was too much moisture in the air, or what the problem was, but it definitely slowed down, even though it showed us good statistics. Then we kept messing around with it for a couple days, and then finally it came back to where we had the good statistics and the internet came back a lot quicker. So for us right now, the Yagi 16 dBi Yagi antenna connected to our TubeU, then routed to our R36, is working good. Now there were a couple days that went soft, which is really confusing, but we're going to keep working with it. We're going to keep trying to find new things that may be able to help out our setup. But one thing that we did want to let you guys know is that there are so many different options out there that you can choose from, and so it's definitely important to do your research. We know that one of our readers, John, had left a comment over on mountainmodernlife.com where he had mentioned the Elite Wi-Fi Ranger. That's what he uses currently. Wi-Fi Ranger, by the way, is a company that offers internet products similar to this, but they're a little bit more expensive. Their initial setup starts at about $400. But what John had said in his comment was that he had tried a ton of different things, and what he found was that everything he had purchased beforehand kind of added up to about the same price of his Elite Wi-Fi Ranger setup. But he said that with the Elite Wi-Fi Ranger setup, everything has worked fantastic for him. And from the research we've done, we've heard a lot of great things about Wi-Fi Ranger as well. So that may be an option you want to check out. I know we're going to continue to look a little bit deeper into it. Also, too, Technomadia, they have great information. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. And they also have a separate entity as well there, that's the RV Mobile Internet Resource Center, which will give you a ton of information on different things they've learned on their travels and through their technology they've tested. But there's also a membership option over there that'll get you in even deeper to some of the more detailed information that can help you while you're doing your research and looking around. And also, like we mentioned in the last video, Techno RV, very helpful as well at helping you do your research. But we hope that this video has kind of helped you on what we're using. I still need to figure out some tweaks so that we don't have random days where it slows down and shows us something else. But if you have your own RV internet setup and you've been really happy with it, or maybe it's just really frustrated you because you can't get things to work the way they should be, or you think they should, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I know me and Katie are always looking for new information, but then at the same time, if someone finds the video and they're doing their own research, maybe they'll learn something new from you guys in the comments below. But anyway, as always, thank you much for swinging by today. Don't forget to visit mountainmodernlife.com and subscribe. We'll see you guys again soon.